Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Tuesday night, so that means Tuesday night tune-up from Arkansas Motorsports Magazine. We're live tonight at Tri-State Speedway here in Pensacola, Oklahoma, as they are preparing tonight for the 42nd annual Kegger Stock Car races in honor of former track owner and promoter Cecil Harlan. And we'd like to thank tonight's sponsors. Chambers Bank with 28 locations throughout Arkansas, one or a couple just right over in Fort Smith. We want to thank Shaw Race Cars up in Batesville, Arkansas. We want to thank True Grit Auction Company down in Dardanelle. Check them out. They have got a fantastic auction going right now with a lot of racing and
tools, a
lot of tools. Check that out on the True Grit Auction. That auction is going to end Thursday, so check that out and get your bids in. There is some fantastic racing parts and tools on hand for that Don Bewley Estate auction. We also want to thank KR Performance Fuels, Kevin Rogers, for thanking him for all your racing and performance fuel needs. And we also want to thank New Vision Graphics. Like I said, when you need graphics or t-shirts for your racing organization, thank a New Vision. Have I left anybody out this week, Pete? Yes, we got to thank your other part-time job. Skyway Buick GMC up in Joplin, Missouri. And we're going to offer this offer again this week. If go online, buy a vehicle from Skyway Buick GMC in Joplin, Missouri, and Heath Tate from Arkansas Motorsports Magazine will come out and help deliver the keys with the Skyway group. You've been pretty busy with that the last few weeks.
I took off this week because I was busy.
Yeah, you was busy this week.
So, but other than that, I mean, that's a good group of guys down there. So if y'all need a vehicle, check out Skyway.
And also, Phil Potts Complete Auto Repair down in Greenwood, Arkansas.
Yes.
We want to thank them for helping bring tonight's show from right here at Tri-State Speedway. And we'll kick it over now to Heath for the latest in breaking racing news, brought to you by Western Petroleum Company in Cloverville, Arkansas.
Rain. Except for Crawford. Crawford County did get to run Saturday night, but they run mods and
they got a complete show in. I think Jake Davis, I do know he won the modified division. So,
and other than that, it looked like rain. Rained out at Batesville, rained out at Centerville, rained out at I-30.
And I want to say,
rained out. So.
On the race at Batesville Friday night, Chuck Knight, who's with us tonight, had a good run going up there. Probably was going to have a great feature race up there Saturday night, but rain got us to intermission, and that's just how those things go. What about coming up this week? Obviously,
coming up, that's where we're at right now. We got the Kegger.
Right here, 42nd annual.
Yep. Here at Tri-State. So kicks off Thursday night practice. They're out working on the track right now. We're sitting here and we watch them getting the track all good and ready. Practice Thursday night. Racing starts Friday night. Saturday night
wraps up.
Yep.
Also want to give a shout out to Prescott Raceway. Big event going down there this weekend.
Arkansas versus Texas.
Yeah, Pro Mods, Jackie Lewis and those guys down there got a big show going. 6.0 index, 7.0 index, some other heads-up classes going.
Some small tire,
big tire maybe. But check that out on Prescott Raceway if going straight's your thing. But the big event going on this weekend will be right here, circle track wise, here at Tri-State Speedway. So
I don't know, the big event might have been this week was, listening to you gripe and complain about putting the motor in your '69 Pontiac. Well, because you was getting your car already, and I got to listen to the griping and complaining about putting that motor in, so that was kind of a big event.
Well, there was a lot of griping and complaining. Naturally, my co-host didn't show up to help as he always promises. So there was a lot of griping and complaining, but it's in there, and thanks for reminding me.
And I do got to tell one thing, I still, right now, can't tell everybody out there about the Johnny Verdon Sprint car, I do, like I said, do know that he's got one. Just I don't know any more than we knew last year. Verdon's being quiet, not saying a whole lot, but I'm still picking at him, trying to figure this out. But
there's definitely something in the
that's
news.
kind of where we're at with that deal. And so.
Well, anyway, like I said, we're here at Tri-State Speedway tonight, and then we're going to do the portion of the show here that Michael Hoover, the owner and promoter out here, was going to do, but Michael is busy tonight out on the track, so we're going to kind of step in here. You know, Mike has done a lot of great things out here at Tri-State, a lot of work here at the Speedway, and like I said, right now he's out preparing the surface, and you know, the car count here at Tri-State continues to grow with the USRA sanction. And this year, like I said, a lot of big turnout with the modifieds and the B mods.
B mods are just tremendous here and have the number of cars they got in the B mod class.
You know, and he's also sanctioning this year with the USRA stock cars
and the mods.
Yeah, so. And he was talking today that he thinks by utilizing the sanctions that the full body cars, the number of those will grow, and he said a lot of things here at Tri-State are based on the numbers and percentages, and so look forward to having a great season here. If we could, we're going to start off here. I got Chuck Knight standing off over here. Chuck will step in here just a little bit. Chuck's making his way down here, and
like you said, Chuck had a good run going at Batesville this week.
Well, I thought it did.
You know, and one of them deals, just rain didn't work out and help you out none.
No,
you know,
that was actually the first time I'd got to race all year, and got a couple of hot laps. Something kind of happened there, and we lined up in the heat. And I was really cautious, started out cautious, and could have put it 3 wide quick, and I thought I backed out of it, and I ended up running third in my heat, and Tosh got out there pretty far, so I don't know if I could have caught him or not. He's strong at that track.
He's strong at that track, but that's somebody that said he wasn't going to race this year. He was done racing.
Yeah, I spent the weekend with him, and he's leaning. He's in the same conversations I'm in. You know, hey, when are we going to stop?
He's still considering it, huh?
Yeah, he seriously talked to me about it.
He looked strong. He looked very strong Friday night.
Yeah. Well, he's going to be.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's made a lot of laps around that track. Also.
He's hard to beat right there.
Well, like I said, we're here at Tri-State tonight, getting ready for the 42nd annual Kegger Stock Car races in honor of our good friend Cecil Harlan, and I know you've made a million laps around this place, and I know you and Cecil go way back. If you would care, talk a little bit about Cecil for people at home watching tonight.
Well, Cecil and I were friends, so it's hard for me to talk about racing stuff, because when I think about Cecil, I think about the friendship we had. But he had his way of promoting races, and you know, he had ties to the newspaper stuff, and he could get, you know, he just promoted it different than most, and he had newspaper articles every week, and if he thought for 1 minute me or anybody else had an issue with another driver, it was in the newspaper the next week. I mean, what are they going to do? How's it going to work out? Who's going to run over who? You know, he could promote that stuff. You know,
and even if y'all were already made up.
Oh yeah, we talked about it. It was over with. You know, it's over with that night. But he'd play it out, and you know, and he was a good person. Great promoter. I mean, he thought of a lot of things that most people didn't think about, and was really good for me. I mean, there were several times when I raced a lot out of town as I got older, and you know, him and I were so close. I on the back of one of my race cars that I was going out of town with, I'd even put "Follow me to Tri-State Speedway" for him.
Right.
But he's a good man, you know.
And it did so much for racing.
He done a lot for racing. How long did he have this place? Till he would know. 20?
Close to 20 years.
Yeah.
Close to 20 years.
And he just done a good job of it. 100 plus cars, you know. And once again, I didn't race every week or every year. I skipped in there some, but when I showed up, man, he was like my best friend, you know. Good person.
Good person.
Yeah, good family.
Good family.
They all was out here. They worked. They all done what they needed to do to get the weekend done.
What of the big races that Cecil put on, what were some of your favorite ones?
I always enjoyed the Kegger and then the Spooker. As I got older, the Spooker is so huge and so large, and I kind of stay away from it because midnight I'm ready to go to bed. You know, at the Spooker, you're just lining up for something. You know, so.
But you got to think it's grown to its capacity because of his mindset and the foundation that he laid for that race.
Yeah, he had a vision of everybody's season ending, and he thought he could put on a race to cap it all at the end of every year, and it really does. Now everybody's tried to kind of do another one and race a different track behind him or that date or whatever, but the original Spooker was put in place years ago, and it still stands today.
Well, it's obviously a hallmark that he laid the foundation for, just like this race that's going to take place this week in Kegger, and but it's truly Tri-State Speedway. A lot of history here behind it, and a lot of great racing going on out here. And I know, although you don't race here a lot anymore, it's still exciting.
Well, I grew up out here.
It's still exciting to you that it's still in existence.
Yeah, I grew up out here. I spent every weekend out here for a long time, and then as I got older, I didn't race every week, and I didn't race every year, but I grew up out here.
We're going to see you guys this weekend.
No, actually, my wife's got some surgery, and I'm going to take the next couple of weeks.
Weeks off?
Yeah, next week for sure, and then whatever else she needs, I'm going to be there. She puts up with me.
A lot of racing, I guarantee you.
Yeah, so she'll be first for this weekend for sure.
Well, that's great. Well, Chuck, we appreciate you coming by, hang out.
Yeah.
If we've got time, we'll have you back tonight.
Yeah.
And like I said, we enjoyed you coming by tonight and talking to everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ladies,
I enjoy it.
I know you do.
I like to talk racing. I like to talk the track. Like I said, I grew up out here. Want to see it keep going, you know. Hopefully, they'll have a good weekend here. Get it launched off good. They're working on it now.
They're working on it right now out here.
Working hard.
Yeah.
If the rain will hold off, I mean, we know it's going to rain.
Yeah, it's supposed to rain tonight, tomorrow. Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe that won't slow things down too much.
They're working on it, so we'll see.
All right, Chuck, thank you so much.
Yeah, nice seeing you guys again.
And like I said, we're gonna let's get Tilly and Ty Evans. They're here in the house, and we'll get them to come in. And I tell you what, I know this racetrack means a lot to these two guys right here because Tilly, your dad originally built this facility. Is that right?
Yes, sir. He started as Mighty Mouse Speedway, ran 1 year dirt, then changed over to payment, took in some partners, Floyd Brown, Gavin Doak. They got Cecil in because he had an end with the newspaper. They got him in to promote it. They actually give him the program, let him take it. And He's really Cecil who really made the track what it is. Y'all was talking about the Spooker a while ago, which was Cecil's favorite race, but he's not really the one that thought it. He and Foy Brown had been to Tulsa in 1980. Crowder had leased the track that year, Dennis Crowder.
Yes.
And Cecil and Foy was coming back from Tulsa. I don't know what they was doing up there, but Crowder had turned the track back over at the end of the year, paid his lease, everything was good. And Foy said, let's have a race. No rules, wide open. Cecil said, that's just crazy. That don't make no sense. He says, we'll call it the Spooker, and we'll just run everything, no rules, wide open. And Cecil got to thinking about it, and that's how it really got started.
And that's how it is today.
But what about the Kegger? I know that's generally a race that's always kicked off the season here for many years here at Tri-State.
That's always been their first race of the season. It had other names. There was other beer companies and stuff, and they'd come and go, and finally the Kegger, the stuff. That way different sponsors come in, they would have to change it.
Over the years, that race has kind of grown a little bit too, kicking the season off, and I know you two have probably had some successes in that race. Care to elaborate a little bit about the racing that goes on here in the Kegger, your experiences?
The Kegger has always been bad luck for me. I don't know if it's rusty or no comment on that one. Always rusty or what, but the Kegger's always been bad luck. I usually have better luck at the Spooker for whatever reason, I don't know. But I used to, as a kid, I remember the Kegger being just super cold, just absolute cold. And now it's shorts and flip flop season, so temperatures changed, and it's always been a good race to start off the year.
And the Spooker's the one that can be cold.
The Spooker it's 50-50. It's either going to be snowing or in midsummer, it's 50-50 on the
Actually,
Spooker.
last year, they didn't have the Kegger because of the virus.
Right.
The year before, it was 45 degrees and rainy, so they canceled it, and they never had it. They've had to cancel the Kegger before, but they never rescheduled it. So the year before was the first year they missed out on the Kegger.
Well, how many of those do you think you raced in your career, Tilly?
Boy, I raced them all until we got quit. 10:04. I guess I raced them all.
That's quite an accomplishment.
Well, it's kind of a family tradition about not doing well. Trouble is we build our own cars and we're poor and we hate to skim them up. And the first night you don't want to tear up your stuff, so you're way too conservative. And all these guys, they come to win. They don't care.
That's something about Tri-State is the competition here has always been tough. And
It's a big track, fast track. So
I remember as a kid one year, Shyrock and Mark Noble came down from Minnesota or wherever he's from for the Kegger. As a kid, I just thought that because back in the day, we didn't have Facebook where we could see, Gustin or whoever, day to day. Now we can follow everybody, whoever we want to. Back in the day, you just seen like Shyrock on the cover of Harris magazine or whatever. You never seen like a car. So whenever they showed up here, it was different than whenever they, today's time. Today, I feel like I know all these people and I don't, like Moyer and all them, because you go on Facebook and see where they raced at last night. You keep up with them. Yeah, you can see what they ate for dinner last night. Back then, you seen them like Shyrock. I remember going to Larry Cotton Shop, whatever the name of that deal was, and there was a little rack with they were Harris dealers, and I remember seeing the Harris catalog with Shyrock on the front of it. I never seen Shyrock. Then he'd come down for a Kegger, so it's like a really big deal for me back then because you only seen those guys once a year. You never seen them come down all the time. So I do remember that about the Kegger. Is Mark Nobles come down and Shyrock come down from here.
Those are still some pretty big names in the modified racing industry.
And the Kegger used to be early in the year before the other tracks got going. That's why it was so big. And then the Spooker was always after everybody else shut down. So that's why it was so big. That was why those two races got so big. It's because nobody else had nowhere else to go.
But even during the race season, Cecil had some pretty significant races throughout the years. One of my favorite ones was always the Summertime Classic. talk about, and like I said, I'm not picking on you because you're the oldest.
Because I'm
standing
the
here.
man,
You've
yeah.
been around here more than everybody here in the circle. But who are some of the names that you remember over the years coming in?
Well, Ben, you are what you was born around. I was around the pavement. I love the pavement stuff. I still do. And my favorite drivers, of course, Larry Phillips. He's the king.
Yes.
But man, we had everybody. We had Trickle, Shear, Seneca, Ed Howe, Gary Johnson. Blew a radiator hose out there on the front straightaway, and Hal hit it and got up in the fence, and a piece of the hood pin broke off, hit a kid in the mouth. Looked like a bullet. And they took it up to Gerald Phillips. He wasn't hurt, no insurance, no nothing, you know. They thought it was a bullet off the little tip. It's just so special, all the people been. You had Bobby Allison, Donnie Allison. There's no end to the people who's been here.
It's just, like you said, a lot of history, with this racetrack. And the thing about it attracted so many people from across the United States. And you got to go back and lay that at, a lot of that at the responsibility of Cecil and his technique of promoting.
You asked Chuck his favorite race, so I'm going to throw in my 2 cents. It's my favorite race.
I know Heath was just about to get to
Okay,
that.
all right, sorry. I love it when they had the twin, whatever it was, the twin 150s or twin 100s.
Melbourne Cow,
You want now?
Cow,
Yes.
120.
Well, this was in the paper. They just before.
Okay.
But anyway, the twin races, what they did, they'd qualify. They'd run their heat races. Then they'd line them up heads up, and they'd have a race. It was a complete race. Then they'd stop the race at the end of it, and then they would invert everybody for the second race. Both races paid the same. And the second race was always better than the first race because the fast guys had to come off the back. And that was just the program I liked. I love to watch cars pass. I really don't like to watch these fast cars to the front.
Passing is fun. Watching it.
It's what people come to see. It's just a trend. It's a life we live now, but they're always putting the fast guys on the front, and it's really hurt the grandstands. You don't have the people we're used to on our weekly show. High Point guy before IMC come. If there was 24 cars, you started 24th. You couldn't win, but you could put on a show and the people would eat it up. But now, put it on the front. It's just a parade. It's not what I enjoy.
I agree. We hope, hopefully in the future, promoters, we ask drivers that all the time, and we always get the same responses. And we're hoping the promoters out there are paying attention, and then maybe they'll start mixing this up and trying some of it.
In racing, there's a lot of luck involved in racing. It's skill, it's talent, it's equipment, but there's a lot of luck involved. And this thing, drawing appeal for invert, it's a lot better than not having that. But when you're on a luck run, the fast guy seems like he draws the front row almost every time. So
If you want it inverted, let me draw because I'll invert it the whole time.
yeah, we don't want him to draw. It's a big joke. It's a laughing joke here at Tri-State.
So you gonna make it out this weekend?
Oh, yeah.
I know you've gone to B-Mod racing.
Yeah, we're gonna try that. I don't know. Me and him, we've already got into it a few times. His Corvair days are trying to rub off on my new B-Mod deal. So his ideals and my ideals aren't quite jiving, but we'll find out here pretty quick.
Is this the first mod
That I've raced.
that you've raced? And
So back in 2014, buddy of mine, Jake Davis, he got burnt up real bad in an accident, work-related accident, and I drove his IMCA mod then 5 or 6 times, and it was a crate motor, and I think I had the only legit crate motor because it was not what the crate motors are today.
But he did well. He's not telling the truth. He did pretty good. He really did okay.
It's going to be a huge learning experience.
But that's what I'm getting at, because I know Tilly, he's full body car his whole life pretty much, so.
I've seen him win a few races in the modified.
So, but my question is
Oh, I hate the B-Mod. I already hate the B-Mod. I hate the B-Mod class, but that's the only thing to race. They got rid of our super stock class. My car as it sits right now, I can only race at Salina every week, and I can race it at Batesville once a year, and fix it for a couple of tracks, but we're all 5 hours away. This B-Mod deal, I can race it at 32 tracks, I think I figured out, within 6 hours. If I do their US Race Street Stock, which I'm not saying it's a bad deal, I think it's going to be a great deal in the long run. But if I do it one, I can race it here, and I can race it at Lucas without traveling to Iowa to race it. So it just makes more sense if for a guy wanting to race, the B-Mod is the only way to go because he can literally take it anywhere. There's not a track around here that does not run the B-Mod class. So that's the only thing that makes sense for us to do. Plus we had a bare frame old TRE by Bone sitting there, so we're putting it together. That's the only thing that makes sense. If they bring back my super stock class, that thing's for sale. The B-Mod's for sale. I'm a full body guy.
He's even talked about getting rid of the B-Mod before he races.
Yeah, I'm not
I just don't like them.
Yeah.
The worst thing about B-Mod, in my opinion, they crash. They just tear up. It's a crash fest. I think Muskogee there tonight seems like he had 13 cautions or something during that race.
Well, they ran our super stock class before the B-Mod races here at Tri-State, and you'd have to pee 3 times before the B-Mod race got over with. I mean, just I'm not a big fan of it, but who knows? We'll see what happens.
But it's something to race.
That's right.
If they got rid of everything and had bicycles, he's got to learn how to pedal.
Go to the gym is what we have to do.
But his pedaling is probably better than my engine building anyway, so he's probably better off.
Well, I guess this Friday and Saturday night we'll find out, and we'll keep up with the progress of this program.
Yeah, we were supposed to practice a couple weeks ago. It keeps getting rained out. Then we were supposed to practice tonight, then tomorrow night. But it's fixing to be a washout until Friday, Saturday. So Friday will be the just get in, and go. Yeah.
I hate practice because that car, I don't know if it's a race or if it's a practice and they wear out. I hate practice, but man, we're in trouble. He don't know nothing, and now we can't have no practice.
I keep wanting to go to Thunderbird, wanting to go to Outlaw, and he just keeps talking me out of it. I was wanting to go to Lucas a couple weekends ago. Glad it didn't because they had like 46 B-Mods. That's another crazy thing about the B-Mod class. I'm looking forward to, the class I was in, we were getting 10, 12 cars a week. Thunderbird Sunday had 33, Salina had 30 something, Lucas Oil had 46 for a regular show. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's crazy. That's good.
Yeah.
I can't wait for that part. It'd be cool to come out to D and win an A and start, have 10 cars and win the A. Get a lot more special winning more cars.
I've seen these features in the city. I would have something go bad in the arm, end up in a D or a C and have to come all the way up. You'd be wore out by the time you make the leg. In fact, we got a special pumper we put in called the B feature pumper. But then you have to go. If you didn't get that, you got no money.
Well, guys, we appreciate y'all coming by tonight and visiting.
Okay, thank you.
Good luck this weekend.
Thank you. I'm gonna need it. Good luck.
And we're gonna keep up with y'all's progress.
Yeah, pray for us because we're in deep trouble here.
I bet he'll drive well.
Yeah, there's only one way to go for me because it's already starting at the bottom, so we'll see.
Thank you guys. We
luck.
appreciate what you guys do. We really do.
We appreciate y'all.
Thank y'all.
And Jim Philpott, if we could get him to come down, yes. Because you said you only had 2
2 minutes is what you said, but that was like 30 minutes ago.
It's like, yeah, I'm done.
Hey, we want to bring in a long-time racer here at Tri-State Speedway and sponsor.
One of our sponsors, and we appreciate that a lot.
And Jim, tell us what you've been doing today out here.
Brush hogging. A lot of mowing. Running around on the tractor all day.
Matter of fact, there's a lot of people out here tonight trying to do what they can do to get this thing ready. And
Everybody's out here trying to help.
Everybody. I was amazed at the number of people that were out here tonight when we pulled up. And
Well, it's you gotta have your people come out and help. And I don't know that there's a lot of money to be made on these tracks, but they need the help. We need the help to keep our tracks going.
what can we expect race-wise out here this weekend? What do you expect for the 42nd annual Kegger?
I expect some good racing. I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, I'm not going to have a car out here, but I'm going to be out here supporting the track, helping them any way I can. So, whatever they need me to do.
So I guess you're not going to have your car, but y'all started building, you and Heath have started building y'all's car.
We are building a car. Tried to create, I don't know how many times on the racing, and it just, I can't get away from it. And as well as my son's doing on the driving part of it, I've got to keep him in the car. He's just kind of starting to mature really a lot. We got Cadillac chassis out of Wolfen. They're going to be building the chassis, and I think the way I understand it, we just got through, and then we'll have Rural Motors in it. So he'll be ready to go. I'm looking forward to it. I think he's going to win a lot of races in it.
That's a good class. I mean, I really enjoyed looking at the cars and watching them run this year so far. What little bit we've got to see.
I still really love those super stock class. I really hate to see it go because it's, man, that's what we drove forever, was a full body car. I tried the modifieds, the B-mod. Just really wasn't for me. So we looked at all the builders and stuff, and we thought that's what we need to go with to build us a good car.
Well, talking about the modified, the B-mod, are you helping Andy this week? Milligan, is he going to be running this week?
Andy, he's actually moving to A-mod. He's building a new motor. Their car's not quite finished yet. He's working on it. Andy, you never know what Andy's going to do. I just kind of sit back and watch him because he's really smart on chassis setups and stuff, and he's helped me a bunch. And when he starts talking all this, and hopefully he's going to help us a little bit on this chassis. Between him and my son, they push each other so hard on these cars that they're going to win when they really work good with each other, so it's fun to see. But, I'm looking forward to the Kegger. They are working their tails off out on the track. We're trying to get it all capped over before it starts the big rain, so we'll have a good track for the weekend. We've really done a lot. Right here, we're back to Cecil.
Yeah.
Cecil Harlan, that was the man.
Talk a little bit about Cecil. That's, the other reason we were here tonight is this race is honoring him, and just a few stories, if you will, about the man.
There'll never be another Cecil Harlan. I mean, if you ever met the man, you were your best friends, just as soon as you met him. He would do so many things for just the Fort Smith and the area. We'd go every year out to the hospitals for the kids, and that was a big thing for him. He really wanted to see the kids smile, and I'll tell you what, there wasn't a better man around, and we miss him.
Oh, no, no doubt. Like I said, he laid the foundation back years ago while we're still having these 42nd annual races of this sort.
He would do anything in the world. You could be as mad as you could possibly be, but when you left here, he had you in a good mood, everything was fine. You left knowing that if you come here to race, that he would take care of you, and you wouldn't have a bad night. He was just the man. His daughter, I actually got off the phone with her a little while ago, and she is trying to make it. Said she can talk with y'all a little bit, but she's been with her mother, which is Cecil's wife, which is in hospice, so she's been up there with her, and she's trying to make it here, talk a little bit about her dad's, actually his Kegger.
Right.
It's just something I look forward to every year.
What is it that you think that here in the Fort Smith area, y'all just have so many great and talented race car drivers? What is it in the water up in this area that causes it? I mean, y'all are just and have been for a long time. I mean, this area just loaded with racing talent.
I don't know that I could really put one thing on it. I mean, it's just the way, and mainly him and some of the people that brought it up before have promoted it. Everybody's wanting to be out here in the car. You come to this track one time, you want to be a race car driver. You want to try to get in that car. I don't know, as a little kid, I looked up to, I had Wendell and Kenny Brewer, and they just lived down the street from us, and I'd go down there and just sit and watch them work on their cars and their dad work build the motors. And that's all I ever thought about being. I wanted to drive a race car. Well, at that time, there was a lot of kids in this area, and they had Larry Phillips. I think back in the 50s, even Chuck Knight, but
That's I didn't realize Chuck was that old.
Chuck, I tell you what, him and Tilly, I was like 2 or 3 years old when I was watching them race. But,
I started in 1970.
1970.
Start a seniors league out here.
Yeah.
You know, something else about Cecil, if you were a driver, when you ever met him, you wanted to drive for Cecil.
You want to come to his track. And he made you feel, no matter if you brought the biggest piece of junk out here, he made you feel special. He made you feel like you were a driver. He wanted you here. He wanted you to come back. And he would do anything he could to get you back out here. And just an excellent man. I wish there was a whole lot more around him.
Yeah.
You know, and we could have those here as promoters. And I think Hoover's trying. He's working hard. And I see this place staying here for a while.
That's great. Anything else you'd like to add about this weekend?
I just get everybody to come out. I'd like to see everybody out here. I'd like to be able to come up and stand and talk and cut up like we used to, because that's what it's all about to us racers. We want to see the people in the stands. We want to see people smiling. The kids, love seeing kids up there. I can sit and talk with them for hours. You know, it's just that's what's going to keep our sport going, and that's what we got to work with is the young ones to get them interested enough to want to be a driver.
I'm always, and you brought up something right there that we've said before, but I haven't said it in a long time, and is the kids and drivers. Man, it don't take much to get a kid that really wants to get out there and race, but to all the drivers out there that are watching and listening, and if you know, a driver in his race suit walking up into the stands and talking to a few kids and saying, hey, just talking to them a little bit, that goes a long way. And that kid right there is going to want to be just like that driver that come up there and talk to him. They go out there and race.
Took the time
to come out there just to say, hey, how are y'all doing? But we don't do that enough. We take it for granted that these kids are going to be in the stands, and without the people in the stands, we don't get to race.
The drive-through fist bump the young kids sitting up in the stands, and then when they actually get to come up off the track and come up here and chat with the kids and just sit down and talk to them. I mean, that's a big deal. And you look back at the Keggers from many years ago. That's what Cecil did. These people up here, it's just like the people down there that drive the cars. They're friends. They knew each other. It's just like a big family. And that's what it was. They got to get up there and cheer for their driver. And that's what we got to get back going again. And we need it a lot. Otherwise, we're going to be losing our tracks. But we got a lot of good drivers. We got a lot of good people here.
Our own creation right here at Kendall Kilgore, and I said if you have looked at any of Kendall's drawings that he has done are just absolutely fabulous.
Great stuff.
Tell us a little bit how you got started in the motorsports artistry business, Kendall.
Just when I was a kid, my dad worked for a milk company, and I used to draw his milk trucks. And in about the mid-'70s, they decided to sponsor a late model up in Crawford County, and they painted it just like a Foremost milk truck, and that kind of was the spark that set me off in the dirt racing deal. And then all that, I later found out that people would pay me for them. So I would come out here and I'd sell them for 10 or 15 or 20 bucks a piece and make me a little extra cash. And that's kind of how it kind of blossomed. And this was back before the internet days and telephone.
Right.
And so everything was, you cram something in somebody's face and said, "You like that? I'll draw you one."
Yeah.
I was out here one time when Billy Moyer had just started, and every time they would come to town, you cram anything in Joyce's face, she would buy it.
I know George.
Well, I was trying to stand, that was back when everybody had open trailers, and I was trying to stand on the fender of the open trailer while she's sitting up on the tire rack to show her what I had, and I had no place for my right foot, so I put it on a trash barrel. Next thing I know, the trash barrel left me, and I was in it. And I tore up my racing art. Larry Shaw was here. He felt so bad for me, he drug me out in the parking lot and gave me a hat and a t-shirt. So, it's just something I've always done, and I enjoy doing it.
I tell you, I've looked at a lot of your stuff on Facebook, and it's just absolutely amazing. You know, the stuff you've done, Larry Phillips and racers in the past, and even those that are out here racing today, you're just truly a talented human being, and it's an aspect of the sport that we really need. What's some of the projects that you've got going right now?
Right now, I'm just working for myself. I'm doing a picture of Kyle Larson's sprint car. I've got a lot of photographers that I follow on Facebook that are really good to me, and if I reach out to them, I say, "Hey, I want to do this picture. Can you let me have a copy of it?" And then I'll give them credit for the photo, and I'll usually send them a digital picture of the finished product. There's a lot of great photographers now, and digital cameras have made it. But you know, Lloyd Collins and Ron Mitchell and Dirt Man from up in Missouri, they've all given me stuff, and I pay them credit. And if they wanted money for the picture, I mean, if it's a really good picture, I'll pay it.
What are some of your most favorite drawings that you've ever done so far? I know you've got 2 or 3 probably that you've got that are.
I grew up at this track, but then in 85, 86, this crazy movie came out called Top Gun, and I decided I was going to go off and join the Navy, and I did for about 20 years, and I lived in Virginia for 17 of that, and that was all NASCAR country out there. So a lot of the NASCAR stuff I would do for people out there. But one time, Bobby Allison was coming to town for a USO autograph session, and I was working on a Bobby Allison picture, so I wanted to get it signed, but I didn't know how I was going to make it happen without having to stand in line. So I got on the phone and I called Don Schoenfeld. Him and my dad were buddies. And I asked him, I said, "You know Bobby Allison, don't you?" He said, "Well, I haven't talked to him in a while." He said, give me a few days." Well, he called me back in about a week, and he said, "Yeah, Bobby, be glad to sign your artwork." He said, "But he don't know when he's going to be in town, so he told me to give you his phone number. And when you think he's in town, call him." And I said, "Hell, I'm not calling Bobby Allison." He goes, "No, he said it was all right." So later that night, I called him, and he said, "Are you the guy Schoenfeld told me about?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He said, "I'm really busy right now." He said, "I'll call you back in a minute." So okay. So sure enough, he called me back, and I took a picture of the caller ID because not everybody gets a phone call from Bobby Allison. But later that night, my phone rang again, and it was him calling me back. Well, he had butt dialed me, or shirt pocket dialed me, whatever. And he was telling a racing story. My wife's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "It's Bobby Allison." She goes, "Well, don't listen to his conversation. That's rude." I'm like, "No, you don't understand." He was telling about, he was racing a short track race in Texas, but he had to be in Michigan, or vice versa. And he got over the Midwest somewhere and ran out of fuel. And he had to land somewhere and get a farmer to pull his airplane so he could get some avgas. But just stuff like that.
like that.
Yeah, and Schoenfeld hooked me up one time to meet Rusty Wallace at the airport in Virginia Beach. But I've got several projects. Dennis Anderson, the grave digger. We actually went to the truck that's racing right now that's called the Son of a Digger. I did the original concept art for that truck. And he took my kids to his house.
Well, if somebody is interested in purchasing some of your artwork, what's the process?
They just reach out to me on Facebook and drop me a message.
And if they've got maybe something special that they want done, is that a possibility?
As long as it's motorsports related, I tell everybody I don't.
Well, I mean
I don't.
motorsports related.
Yeah. I'm pretty much drawn it all.
All right. Well, I tell you what, it was a pleasure finally
Well, I
to
thank
meet you.
you guys
We're
for-
big fans of your work, and please keep up the good work, and we'll be in touch.
I just get lucky.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you. Kendall Kilgore there, ladies and gentlemen. Now, we want to welcome in a very special lady, if she would come down. And we've got Miss Tamara Hanna, who is Cecil Harlan's daughter, has joined us on the show tonight. And we're here tonight. We brought the show to Tri-State tonight because this week is the 42nd annual Kegger, and obviously it's honoring your father, Cecil Harlan, and we appreciate you being able to make it tonight. It's quite an honor, and we just let you take over and talk a little bit about your dad.
Racing with Daddy's wife, racing, fans, he loved the drivers, they were family, they were anything else to him, my family. Daddy was on 10 years this November, so that's a big thrill for me. He just enjoyed racing. I wish he was still here to see it, how much it's
Oh, we do too. Well, we were talking earlier before you got here. His hard work is why we're still having these 42nd annual races that he developed back years ago.
He had a friend, or like a brother to him, Ken Fry, that helped him a whole lot. It was a family help. I worked for him for 30 years. I don't know, you hear everybody say they got the best daddy in the world, and I'm right there with them, because I had the best.
We know you do, and not only the Tri-State Speedway family, but the racing family in the Tri-State area miss your dad. He was a very special and unique man. And everybody that's watching tonight, if you haven't seen it, go back in our archives, and we've got a very special written article, tribute to your dad, and you were a lot of help putting that together. And like I said, it's an honor that you were able to come out tonight and finally get to meet you. We've done a lot of talking on the phone and everything, but again, thanks for coming out here tonight, especially tonight since we're here honoring his dad, Cecil Harlan. And thank you for all that your family does for the world of motorsports. Thank you. And is Jeff Tennant still with us?
Yeah. I don't know, it's been longer than 2 minutes.
You were talking 2 minutes.
Darkness is setting in on us, but Jeff made the trip out tonight, and we wanted to talk to him. But tell us a little bit about your racing career, Jeff.
Oh, I started in '91, right out here. Cecil Harlan promoter. grew up in it. Dad did it. You know, my dad used to race with Larry Phillips. You know, we got into it the same way, me and my brother, and just loved it. We ran out here. We'd run up Fayetteville. I mean, we'd run 3 or 4 nights a week if we got a chance.
What's going on in your racing world these days?
I've actually got a USRA mod, and I bought it last year on a whim. A good friend of mine said, "Hey," he said, "if you want to get back into racing, I'll go in halves with you." I said, "Okay." That kind of makes a person, you know, feel like they can go spend a little money. We went out and got it. We put it together in 2 weeks. I mean, it was a rolling car, but we put it together in 2 weeks and brought it out here from the Memorial race with my brother. Didn't do so good, but it's the first time I'd been back in racing in 20 years. So
you're
it's a learning
going to
curve.
be in the Kegger this weekend?
I don't think we are. Wife's got a big honey-do list for me. We got a lot of things we got to get done around the house, but we might come out.
Well, we hope to see you out here. And like I said, I hate it the darkness is setting in. We picked this spot tonight for the show because of the memorial wall out here, and we know that this was one of Cecil's favorite places to be after the races. So we wanted to do the show from this spot right here. So anyway, good luck in 2021, and we'll be back and visit with you later in the season if that's okay.
Sounds good. Appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap this week's show up. We're going to take this week's and every week's sponsors. We're going to take Chambers Bank for 28 locations throughout Arkansas. Got some right over here at Fort Smith. Shaw Race Cars up in Batesville. We also want to thank New Vision Graphics up in Batesville, Arkansas for coming on board. Skyway Buick GMC. Buy a car from Skyway before Friday and help Heath here will help out with the deal. True Grit Auctions, Arkansas's #1 online auction company. A big auction, racers auction going on this weekend. Closes out Thursday. Philpott's Complete Auto Repair down in Greenwood, Arkansas. 4-Place Speed Muffler Shop. Icky's Parts and Accessories down in North Little Rock, Arkansas. Who else have we got? Oh, KR Performance Fuels. Kevin Rogers couldn't do this show without him. And if we forgot somebody, I apologize, and Aaron GILKEY will make it up this week to you. So, again, live from Tri-State Speedway as darkness is setting in, the 42nd annual Kegger Stock Car races, Friday and Saturday night, honoring former owner and promoter Cecil Harlan. And Heath, what about next week's show?
Next week we got a show, Racing Legends show with Larry Shaw and his family. We're going to be on there. And Larry's just going to be telling stories about Shaw race cars and how he got started and building race cars.
And that's a great show. It's a tape show. We did about a month ago, and we saved it for this coming week. And tune in and watch that. So,
a great show.
Until next week, I'm GILKEY for Heath, Tate, and all the Tri-State gang that was here tonight.
We appreciate everybody.
We appreciate every one of you. Thank you. And tune in next Tuesday night for an episode of Arkansas Racing Legends with Larry Shaw.